Sculpture is one of the oldest forms of artistic expression, with the earliest known examples dating back over 20,000 years. From ancient Greece to modern times, sculptures have played an integral role in human culture, telling stories, inspiring emotions, and immortalizing the people and events they depict. In this video, we'll take a look at the 5 most important sculptures in history, examining their history, significance, and impact on art and society. David is one of the most famous and recognizable sculptures in history, and it was created by one of the most celebrated artists of all time, Michelangelo. Michelangelo was born in 1475 in Caprese, Italy, and he was interested in art from a very young age. It was said that he was not interested in reading or writing and would skip school to draw on the walls and in his books. His father, who was a government official, did not approve of his son's artistic aspirations and was against him pursuing an artistic career. However, Michelangelo was determined to become an artist and convinced his father to let him study under some renowned artists of the time. During his career, Michelangelo worked for some of the most powerful people in Italy, including the Pope. It was the influence of one of his patrons, Piero de' Medici, that led Michelangelo to create David. Piero de' Medici was a member of the famous Medici family, who were one of the wealthiest and most powerful families in Italy at the time. In the early 16th century, the Medici family commissioned Michelangelo to carve a statue of David from a block of marble that had been deemed too flawed to be used by other sculptors. Michelangelo worked on the sculpture between 1501 and 1504, when he was in his late 20s and early 30s, and the statue was placed in the Piazza della Signoria in Florence. At the time of its creation, Michelangelo's David was not only considered a masterpiece of sculpture but also a political symbol of Florence's struggle against powerful enemies. The statue depicts David, a biblical character who, with his slingshot, defeated Goliath, a Philistine giant. The biblical story was seen as a metaphor for Florence's own struggles, with the city being the underdog against powerful rivals. The statue's triumphal physicality captured Florence's defiance and resilience against forces that threatened their freedom to govern themselves. David remains one of the most celebrated masterpieces of the Italian Renaissance, and it has become a symbol of Florence and the Italian Renaissance. Visitors to Florence can see the statue at the Galleria dell'Accademia, where it has been on display since 1873. Today, David is not just celebrated for its artistic qualities but also as a cultural icon that has helped shape how the world views art in Italy, and as a reminder of the power art can have to inspire and captivate those who view it. Michelangelo's David is a masterpiece of sculpture that showcases his innovative artistic style and choices. One of the most striking features of Michelangelo's artistic style is his use of the technique known as chiaroscuro. This technique involves modeling form through a combination of light and shade, which creates a sense of depth and dimensionality in sculpture. Michelangelo used this technique to great effect in David, creating a lifelike statue that seems to almost breathe. However, Michelangelo's David is not just defined by its technical skill but also the symbolism that the artist imbued in the sculpture. One of Michelangelo's biggest decisions in creating David was to depict the character as a young man rather than a warrior. This choice was brave at the time, as previous depictions of David showed him as a mature, muscular warrior. Michelangelo's decision to depict David as youthful and somewhat vulnerable was a stark departure from earlier representations and signaled a shift in the way we thought about human form and sculpture. By emphasizing the character's youth and androgyny, Michelangelo created a nuanced and fresh image of David that spoke of the beauty of the human body and the potential for heroism in anyone. Another unique aspect of Michelangelo's David is the exaggerated proportions, especially of the hands and head. These overemphasized features encourage the viewer's eyes to move up and down the sculpture, taking in its full form. Michelangelo also paid great attention to the presentation of the statue, positioning it at a pedestal so that its full height and form could be viewed up close. This sense of intimacy and monumentality is a hallmark of Michelangelo's work, and it creates a dramatic and unforgettable experience for viewers. Overall, Michelangelo's David stands as an example of the artist's innovative artistic style and choices. Through the use of chiaroscuro, symbolism, and exaggerated proportions, Michelangelo created an unforgettable statue that has remained one of the most celebrated sculptures of all time. David's legacy in art and culture can be seen in the way that the sculpture has captivated viewers for centuries and inspired artists and creatives in different fields. The statue's significance extends beyond the art world and has become a symbol of Italian culture and identity. In the centuries since its creation, David has been celebrated by art historians and writers, who praise Michelangelo's skill and innovation in creating the statue. It is widely considered a masterpiece of Renaissance sculpture and one of the most important sculptures of all time. The sculpture has influenced countless artists over the years, inspiring them to push the boundaries of what was considered possible in sculpture. David's legacy is demonstrated by the many copies and reproductions that have been made of the statue, which are still being made to this day. David's impact extends beyond art and into popular culture, where it has been referenced and depicted in different forms. In literature, David has been used as a metaphor for courage, strength, and heroism. The statue has also been featured in movies and television shows, where it is used for comedic purposes, as well as to signify grandeur and sophistication. David has become a symbol of Italian identity and culture, and for many people, the sculpture represents the best of the Italian Renaissance. Today, people from all over the world visit Florence specifically to see the statue at the Galleria dell'Accademia. David's legacy stems from the way in which it continues to inspire and captivate viewers, even centuries after its creation. As such, it is a tribute to the power of great art to transcend time and place and speak to people from all walks of life. The Great Sphinx was a masterpiece of the ancient Egyptian civilization. Built during the reign of the pharaoh Khafra in the Old Kingdom, it is believed that the statue was created to serve as a guardian of the nearby pyramids. The ancient Egyptians were famous for their remarkable achievements in art and architecture, and the Great Sphinx was no exception. Built over 4,500 years ago, it was sculpted out of limestone rock, and measures over 66 feet tall. According to some theories, the face of the Sphinx was meant to be a representation of Khafra himself. The level of detail in the statue's construction is exceptional, from the intricate carving of the Sphinx's body to the careful shaping of its paws. While the exact methods used to build the Great Sphinx remain a mystery, it is clear that the ancient Egyptians possessed an incredible skill and knowledge of engineering. The statue remains one of the most impressive examples of ancient Egyptian art and architecture and continues to fascinate people from around the world. The Great Sphinx is not just a remarkable work of art but is a marvel of ancient engineering as well. At 66 feet tall and 240 feet long, the statue is the largest monolith statue in the world. The statue was carved from a single piece of limestone rock, weighing around 200 tons, which was quarried from nearby the pyramids. The ancient Egyptians sculpted the statue in such a way that it faced directly east towards the rising sun, indicating the connection of the pharaoh Khafra with the sun god Ra. One of the greatest engineering feats of the statue is the precision with which it was built. The four paws of the Sphinx lie perfectly flat on the pedestal, carved out of the living rock underneath. The sculptors also went to great pains in shaping the body of the Sphinx. The body merges well with the pedestal and doesn't seem to be a separate block from the head. The amount of planning, precision, and skill that went into the construction of the Great Sphinx shows how advanced the ancient Egyptians were in their engineering abilities. The Sphinx embodies the creativity and skill of the ancient Egyptians and continues to inspire awe and admiration today. The Great Sphinx holds great significance in history, both as an artifact of ancient Egyptian culture and as a symbol of human achievement. A remarkable feat of engineering and art, the statue has become an iconic symbol of ancient Egypt and its incredible cultural and technological achievements. The Sphinx serves as a reminder of the highly advanced civilization that existed over 4,500 years ago and provides an insight into the aspirations and beliefs of the ancient Egyptians. The statue was built during a time when Egypt was at its cultural peak, and it represents the fervor of the Egyptian people in perpetuating the rule of the pharaohs. Not only that, the Sphinx is also an integral part of the ancient Egyptian mythology and is a prominent motif in many tales and legends. Over the years, the Sphinx has attracted countless visitors, scholars, and enthusiasts, who have been drawn to its unique symbolism, incredible construction, and its enigmatic, ageless gaze. It is also a testament to the resilience of human achievement, having survived for more than 4,500 years despite being battered by the forces of nature and human intervention. The Great Sphinx stands as an extraordinary example of human ingenuity, and its quiet presence continues to inspire and fascinate people from all over the world. The Colossus of Rhodes was a statue that depicted the Greek god Helios. It was erected in the city of Rhodes on the similarly named Greek island by Chares of Lindos in 280 BC. The statue was over 100 feet tall, making it one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. As with many artifacts from ancient times, the true appearance of the statue is unknown. However, it is widely believed that it depicted the god Helios standing on a pedestal with his arm outstretched, holding a torch. The statue was a symbol of Rhodes' victory over Cyprus in 305 BC. The construction of the Colossus of Rhodes took 12 years and required a team of skilled laborers, as well as over 700 brass plates to create the outer layer of the statue. The statue was built on the island's harbor entrance, which helped in collecting import duties. The statue was said to be so impressive that ships would use it as a point of reference when approaching the island. However, the statue's presence was short-lived, as it was destroyed by an earthquake in 226 BC, just 54 years after it was completed. The Colossus of Rhodes was a massive statue that was considered an engineering marvel of ancient times. The statue stood over 100 feet tall, roughly the same height as the modern-day Statue of Liberty in New York City. It was made of bronze and iron, with the outer layer consisting of over 700 brass plates that were fastened to an iron framework. The statue was built in sections, which were then hoisted and secured into place using ropes and pulleys. The statue depicted the Greek god Helios, who was known as the god of the sun. Helios was often depicted holding a torch or a globe, and it's believed that the Colossus of Rhodes was no exception. The statue was constructed in a Greek style, with a bearded face and long hair. It's believed that the statue was also nude, as was the convention for ancient Greek sculptures depicting male figures. The statue's location at the entrance of the harbor of Rhodes meant that it was highly visible, and ships coming in and out of the harbor would have passed under the statue's legs, making it truly awe-inspiring. It's easy to imagine how the statue must have looked in its prime, towering over the port and shining brightly in the sun. Unfortunately, the Colossus of Rhodes was not meant to last. It was destroyed in an earthquake in 226 BC that toppled it from its pedestal. Despite this, the statue remains one of the most impressive feats of engineering and artistry in human history, and its legacy continues to inspire people to this day. The Colossus of Rhodes may be gone, but its legacy lives on. The statue was so influential that it was mentioned in literature, from works by the Roman poet Pliny the Elder to the French writer Victor Hugo. The Colossus even helped to inspire the creation of other world-famous statues, such as the Statue of Liberty in New York City, which is roughly the same height as the Colossus was. While there are no original artifacts from the Colossus of Rhodes that have survived to the present day, there are many artistic depictions of the statue that have been created over the years. These depictions give us a sense of the massive size and grandeur of the statue, and they continue to inspire awe in people who see them. The Colossus has become a symbol of human achievement and ingenuity, a testament to what we can accomplish when we put our minds to it. In conclusion, while the Colossus of Rhodes may no longer exist, its influence can still be felt today. Through literature, art, and cultural references, the statue has become an important part of our collective imagination, inspiring us to reach for greatness and to strive to achieve our goals, no matter how big or impossible they may seem. The Venus de Milo is a sculpture of the ancient Greek goddess Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty. The statue is believed to have been created by Alexandros of Antioch, a prominent ancient Greek sculptor, during the period between 130 and 100 BC. The Venus de Milo is made of marble and stands over 6 feet tall. It is currently housed in Louvre Museum in Paris. The exact history of the statue is not known, but it is believed to have been created for a temple in ancient Greece during the Hellenistic period. The statue was discovered in 1820 by a French naval officer named Olivier Voutier, who was stationed on the island of Milos. Vautier saw the statue being used as a decorative piece in a house in the village of Tripiti on the island. He recognized the importance of the statue and immediately alerted the authorities. The statue was then bought by the French government in 1821 and transported to the Louvre Museum in Paris. The Venus de Milo statue has undergone several restorations over the years. In 1871, the arms of the statue were discovered near the original site and were offered to the Louvre, but the museum declined the offer. Later in 1877, the arms were acquired by the Greek government and were attached to the statue using dowel holes. It is believed that the arms are actually from a different statue that was created during the same period. Today, the Venus de Milo statue is considered a masterpiece of ancient Greek sculpture and a symbol of beauty and love. It continues to be one of the most popular exhibits at the Louvre Museum, drawing millions of visitors every year. The Venus de Milo statue depicts the Greek goddess Aphrodite in a moment of contemplation. The statue is made of marble and stands over 6 feet tall. Aphrodite is depicted as a woman of extraordinary beauty with an elegant, elongated figure. She is portrayed as standing in a contrapposto pose, with most of her weight supported by her right leg and her left leg relaxed. The statue's most striking feature is its missing arms, which has been the subject of much speculation and debate. It is unclear whether the statue originally had arms or was intentionally made without them. Some experts believe that the statue originally held different objects, such as an apple, a shield, or a vase. Others speculate that the statue's missing arms add to its elegance, and make it a beautiful symbol of the grace and serenity that Aphrodite represents. The Venus de Milo statue is one of the most beautiful sculptures in the world. Its flawless details, including its elegant features, beautiful curves, and delicate drapery, make it a masterpiece of ancient Greek sculpture. The statue's serene expression and graceful pose continue to captivate audiences today. The Venus de Milo statue is one of the most significant sculptures of ancient Greek art and has influenced artists for centuries. The statue represents the mastery of the classical Greek style and its depiction of female beauty. It has been admired and emulated by artists for centuries, serving as a benchmark for the perfect representation of ideal beauty. The Venus de Milo statue has been particularly significant during the Renaissance period, when artists began to rediscover classical art and started incorporating its elements into their works. Its influence can be seen in many famous works of art, such as Botticelli's Birth of Venuses and Michelangelo's David. The Venus de Milo statue has also been the subject of much debate and interpretation, particularly its missing arms. Some art critics have argued that the statue's form and beauty are enhanced by the absence of arms, while others have suggested that the statue would never have achieved its status as a masterpiece if it had not lost its arms. Some have even speculated that the statue was originally holding a mirror, which would have reflected the viewer and invited them to reflect on their own beauty. Regardless of its missing arms, the Venus de Milo statue remains one of the most popular and recognizable sculptures in the world, and is certainly one of the most important sculptures in human history. To understand the historical context of Michelangelo's Moses sculpture, we need to look at the commission for which it was created. The piece was initially intended to be part of the tomb of Pope Julius II, who had commissioned Michelangelo to create his tomb as a grandiose tribute to his papacy. But the project faced obstacles, and Michelangelo worked on it intermittently for more than 40 years. During this period, Michelangelo received several commissions from important patrons, such as the Medici family in Florence and the papacy in Rome. It was during this period that Michelangelo decided to create the Moses statue. The subject matter was chosen by Pope Julius II himself as an homage to his family name, Della Rovere, which means oak. The oak tree is a symbol of strength and steadfastness, which the Pope wanted to associate with his family history. The statue was initially designed to be part of a series of 40 statues, which were to decorate the Pope's tomb in St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. However, the tomb was never completed, and only a few of the statues, including the Moses sculpture, were realized. Michelangelo's Moses sculpture was not just a tribute to the Pope's family, but also a significant work of art in its own right. Michelangelo imbued the statue with great emotion and dynamism, depicting Moses with horns on his head, symbolizing the rays of light he had after speaking with God, which the Bible mistranslated as horns. The composition and details of the sculpture make it one of the most important works of Italian Renaissance art. The way Michelangelo captured the strength and intensity of the figure of Moses, creating a sense of power and authority, is simply awe-inspiring. Michelangelo's Moses sculpture is an impressive example of Renaissance art. The statue depicts Moses as a powerfully built man with a flowing beard and horns on his head. The sculpture was created between 1513 and 1515 and is 2.34 meters tall. The details of the sculpture, such as the veins in the arms and the curls in the hair, are a testament to Michelangelo's skill as a sculptor. The Moses sculpture is significant for several reasons. Firstly, it captures the essence of the biblical character that Michelangelo was depicting. Moses is shown holding the 10 Commandments, which were given to him by God. The horns on his head symbolize the rays of light that shone from his head after God spoke to him on Mount Sinai. Secondly, the sculpture is significant because it represents the epitome of Michelangelo's art. His use of contrasting textures, such as the rough stone of the beard and the smooth folds of the robe, create a sense of dynamic tension that gives the sculpture a sense of movement. Michelangelo's Moses is significant in the world of art because of its influence on other artists. The strength and intensity of the sculpture have become an archetype for the depiction of Moses in Western art. The statue has been copied numerous times, and it has inspired many other works of art that depict biblical figures. In addition to its artistic influence, the sculpture has also been the subject of several scholarly debates, especially regarding the mistranslation of the Hebrew word, keren, as horns, rather than as rays of light. All in all, Michelangelo's Moses sculpture is a masterpiece that continues to captivate and inspire art lovers and scholars almost 500 years after its creation. Michelangelo's Moses sculpture has had a significant impact on the world of art. The sculpture was created at a time when the Italian Renaissance was at its height, and Michelangelo's work exemplified the values of the era. One of the main impacts of the sculpture was its influence on other artists working in the Renaissance period. The Moses statue became a model for other depictions of Moses in Western art, and the image of Moses with horns became iconic. The sculpture has also inspired other artists to create works depicting biblical figures, such as the works of Gian Lorenzo Bernini, who created his own Moses sculpture 2 centuries later. Michelangelo's Moses has also had an impact on the study of art history. The sculpture is often cited as a masterpiece of Renaissance art, and its composition and technique have been studied by scholars for centuries. Michelangelo's use of the contrapposto pose, where the weight of the figure is shifted to one leg, and the tension between the rough stone of Moses's beard and the smoothness of his robe have been discussed at length by art historians. Additionally, the mistranslation of the word, keren, as horns, has been an interesting subject of debate, and scholars have sought to understand the implications of this error. Finally, the Moses sculpture has also had a significant impact on popular culture. Images of Michelangelo's Moses have been used in advertising, movies, and television shows. The iconic image of Moses with horns has become synonymous with the depiction of biblical figures. The sculpture has also been referenced in literature and music, such as in the poem, Moses, by Thomas Moore and the song, You Moses, by Harry Belafonte. Michelangelo's Moses is not just a sculpture, it is a cultural icon that has had a lasting impact on the world of art and beyond. Sculptures have been an indispensable part of human history, from ancient times to the present day. They have served as symbols of power and diplomacy, as well as expressions of faith, beauty, and emotion. In this video, we have explored the 5 most important sculptures in history, each of them unique and magnificent in their own way. These sculptures have stood the test of time, inspiring future generations of artists and serving as a testament to human creativity and imagination. As we conclude this video, we invite you to visit these remarkable sculptures and explore the history and culture behind them.